Thank you, Lisa, for your great talk. She mentioned she's been a chiropractic assistant in the past for years. I also was a chiropractic assistant in my first year of chiropractic school. And after 3 months, they fired me. I was really bad at the job. I couldn't file things in order. I couldn't communicate properly. In the end, all I could do was like the birthday cards of the week. But then they just, they fired me. So I was not too good at the job. I graduated from school, from chiropractic college, and traveled around the world for a few years, working in different clinics, and then set up my own clinic in Barcelona, Spain, where I am now. And when I arrived in Barcelona, I couldn't speak Spanish, so I couldn't communicate with my patients. So I needed a chiropractic assistant like right away. And I hired a chiropractic assistant that couldn't speak English. So we literally could not, very stupid, no, but we literally could not communicate with each other. But the practice grew. She did an amazing job. I mean, she pretty much took care of everything because I couldn't communicate. Like 95% of my patients were Catalan or Spanish. So she took care of everything. And it just shows how important your role is and how powerful it is, because all I did at that point was adjust. Now, let me see if this thing, hey, there we go. This is my practice in Barcelona. And when people walk through that door, my CAs, and also most of you here, the chiropractic assistants, you're the first impression, the first voice, and the first experience someone has with chiropractic. And research shows that patients actually trust you more than us chiropractors. This is me. Chiropractic was the number one thing in my life for 20 years, but now it's the second because I have a partner and a child. So these guys are, and I have a dog that's quite annoying. So he's definitely not, it's my little sausage dog. So this is my partner Doris and my son Robin, and she's also 3 months pregnant. So we've got another baby on the way in February. So I'm feeling very, very blessed. And so I wear a few hats like all of us know. So I'm a business owner, I'm a chiropractor, I'm a father, I'm a dog owner. But in the end, I'm just like you. I'm just someone that wants to help people. And I got into this profession because I wanted to help. And most of us in this room, we're here because we want to help, and also we want to, grow the business. They're one in the same thing, really. And to help more people and to grow the practice, there's 3 main things that make that happen. We have new patients. Patients start care, not all of them, but most of them do, and how long they stay under care. They're basically the 3 basic things to grow a chiropractic practice. And really, every other business is the same. How many new clients we have, how many buy the product, and how many repeat times they buy it. That's just a recipe for business growth. And most chiropractors and practices focus a lot on new patients. So maybe, who does marketing here? Do most people do some sort of marketing to get new patients? Maybe it's internal or external. Most chiropractors and assistants will practice the communications in the report of findings, so we can communicate chiropractic clearly so people want to start care. And then we educate on the benefits of ongoing chiropractic care, because I believe and understand that long-term chiropractic care is much more beneficial for your health. So most of the focus is on these 3 things. But there's a step before new patients that I feel most practices don't put too much attention on, and it's super important, and that is the first phone call. Because if that first phone call doesn't go well, that person never becomes a new patient, and they never get to experience the health benefits of chiropractic care. And this is something I put a lot of work into, so I want to share this with you today. And I want to share how the 7 steps of sales, which is something that's been around for decades, and it can be used in any industry, perfectly overlaps with the first phone call. And if you follow these steps, a lot more people will end up signing up for that first visit and getting help through chiropractic care. Okay? Who here has some sort of script they use on the first phone call? Okay, so maybe this will be some similar stuff. Maybe it'll be different, but it is something maybe you can bring back to the team if you find it valuable, and maybe there's some good stuff in there for you. Okay? Now, first of all, I just want to, most of us, I had a lot of issues around sales, because I think most of us, because we want to help people, The word sales has like a bad vibe about it. So I just want to like sort of get that reframe out of your head. It's really sales is helping. So these steps of communication is just a way to help people. It is called the 7 steps of sales, but yeah, we need to think of sales as helping and not that we don't want to look like that guy tricking people into care. And there's 7 steps to the sales process. I'm going to give you guys a script at the end, so you don't need to take photos or write anything down. I'm going to give you all this information at the end for those who want it. I'm going to go through each of these 7 steps in detail, but I just want to give you an overview and then we'll go into each step, okay? So we have greeting, connection, identify needs, confirm needs, offer value, close commitment, and build loyalty. These are the 7 steps. Now, I want to show you my stats. This is in 2017 when I started using this process. Does anyone keep in here the statistics on their conversions on their first phone call? How many keep conversions of their report of findings? Practices. Who knows how much the chiropractor, how many people start care? Okay, because I'd find most chiropractors measure how many people sign up, but most chiropractors do not measure this, and it's actually equally as important. They're both points of people starting care. So it's in Spanish, but I'll explain what this means. So these are just external new patients, because there's 2 types of new patients. There's internal, which pretty much almost 100% sign up because a friend recommended them and they're just calling to start. The more difficult ones are the ones that are calling, asking for information, because maybe it's through Google ads or Facebook or Instagram, or it's an external patient. So these are people, we're on the ground floor. We had 16 people come in asking for information off the street and 3 signed up for care. So we had 18% conversion. And Yamadas as phone calls. So this is Google Maps. So people would find us because we have good Google reviews, and they'd call up asking for information. We had 15 calls and 5 signed up, so 33.33%. Not that great. And this chiropractic assistant I had was amazing. She loved chiropractic. She'd been with me for a year, but I didn't give any structure around the first phone call. I gave some basic stuff, but we didn't really train it. So we started measuring it and we're like, okay, this is not really that great. We started training. After 1 month, we can see we had 22 people coming off the street, 9 booked in, 40.91%, and 15 calls, 7 booked in, 46.67%. So that's just after training for a month. The next month, we didn't train on the street, so it did go up, but not as much. I just want to focus on the calls. We had 10 calls, 5 booked in, 50%. And then after 3 months, 14 called, 13 booked in, 92.86%. That's pretty amazing, no? It's a very, very drastic change. Then I'm not going to do every month, but I want to show you the next 3. Just focus on this percentage here. The street we hadn't trained on yet, so we've got that up now, but this is the one I want to focus on. The following month, 88.89, 81.25. We basically don't drop below 80 anymore. And sometimes we even have over 100 because we do such a good job on the phone call. People want to book in their friends and family, so there's been months where we have like 125% conversions. Really huge impact on the practice. And I have used this system. This particular CA that I trained on this one was very extrovert, but she had no structure. So once we gave her the structure, it went really well. But I've also had CAs that are very introverted and don't feel too confident, but they follow the structure and I measure it and it's the same stats. So this is applicable to any type of personality. You just need to follow the system. So let's go through the steps. Greeting. Smile before answering, let it ring twice, set the tone. Research shows that people will make their sort of judgments about you and the clinic within that first 5 seconds. Have you guys heard this research before? And has anyone ever called a place and the person does not sound very happy on the other end of the line? How does that feel? Not too great. So the way you pick up that phone in that first 5 seconds, they're going to make the judgments about how good the service is going to be. They're actually going to judge the chiropractic adjustment through that phone call, which it shouldn't have anything to do with it, but it does. They will think if it's a good adjustment or bad adjustment, depending on how your voice is on that phone call. So really important. We answer it well. Smile before answering, because the tone of your voice actually changes when you smile. So we smile before we pick up the phone. Let it ring twice and set the tone. So when the phone rings, breathe in, breathe out. You're about to help someone and have a smile. And thanks for calling Barcelona Chiropraktic Centre. This is Brock. How can I help you? Then we want to establish connection. People will trust you and buy off you if you have some sort of connection with them. So there's just a little point of connection here. And we ask their name, show care, find common ground, and build trust. So great, may I have your name please? And how did you hear about us? So we get their name and we use it throughout the phone call because it makes it a lot more personal. We actually have a piece of paper where we'll write down some information while we're on the call. And how did you hear about us? It just creates a bit of common ground. Maybe it was an internal referral. Maybe it was through some marketing. It just creates a bit of connection so you can continue on with the call. Now, identify needs. Uncover the problem. Plant wellness seeds and ask questions. Any type of business, and we're no different, is problem and solution. So we need to find out their problem to maybe position chiropractic, if we believe it is, as a solution to their problem. So we ask, would this be more for a specific health concern or a wellness check? Now, very few people say, I would like a wellness check. I love it when they do. It doesn't happen very often. But I plant seeds in wellness from that first phone call. Because it just puts that little seed in their head, wellness. And then, and as we go through education throughout the practice, by the time they get to wellness, they've heard it so many times, most people do choose it. So it's more of just planting that seed about wellness. But most people do call because they have a specific health concern. And tell me more about it. How can we help? So the person will start to explain what's going on. Now, we can unpack that, especially if they're external. We can ask some more questions to get to know what's going on with them a bit better so they feel heard, and also to show authority that you know what you're talking about. Now, most people that are not internal patients, for me, come in for very different conditions. Maybe they have sleep, anxiety, because someone's had amazing results and they tell them you've got to see a chiropractor. External, most of them come to me for low back pain because they think chiropractic is low back pain. And it's much more than that, but yes, we get great results with neck and low back pain and disc hernias. It gets better. Obviously, chiropractic is a lot more, but the reality is most people do call for those problems. So how long have you had this problem? Is it getting better or worse? Have you seen anyone else for this condition? They're just 3 standard questions you can use for most people, and we're writing this down. Oh. So confirm needs. We repeat it back to them using the exact same words they use to make sure we understand what's going on. So as I understand it, you've had low back pain for 2 years, it's getting worse, it's going down your right leg, and you've already seen a physio for it. Is that correct? Now, one of 2 things will happen here. They'll either agree with you, so great, you know what's going on, and they feel heard, or maybe there's something you didn't understand and they can correct you, which is also great. Now, here, we want to empathize with them. There's many ways to do this, but this is one example. I'm sorry to hear you're experiencing this low back pain. The good news is we see many patients with this problem and most of them get great results. Now, there's a few things here. First, it's about connecting. I don't know how that translates in German. I'm sorry to hear you experiencing that, but you can say, I understand, or that must be difficult. But just something to connect with another human, because really they're calling and they're suffering, and you don't need to go over the top with it, but it's just nice to connect with them for a moment. And people want to know they're in the right place. So if you say, wow, I've never heard of that before, that sounds weird. I mean, oh, what's that? They're probably not going to be too confident, no? So they want to know they're in the right place, and the chiropractor sees many other people with that problem. Now, sometimes people will call with something you've never heard of, and don't lie, don't say that. You just can skip this part and go to the next part. But if it's something we commonly see in the practice, it's good to say it because the people feel like they're in the right place. Now, offer value. So now we know the problem, and now it's time to offer the solution. Explain how it works, build on value, and state costs clearly. So now you can recommend. I recommend we start with an initial consultation to see if we can help. Would you like me to explain how that works? I always ask for permission here before continuing, because if you're just talking if you're talking and there's no they're not giving feedback, a lot of people will tune out. 99% of people will say yes at this point, but it's good to get permission before you go on. And then you just explain what you do. Every chiropractic practice works a little bit differently. It's just explain what the process is, and then the person can decide whether it's something they want or not. In our practice, we'll list out most of the things we'll do to offer value. Usually when you purchase something, it's good to list. I just bought the new iPhone, and they say it's got the increased battery life, new camera. They list the things to add value. So we'll say we'll talk with the doctor. He'll palpate your spine, focusing on the low back area. We'll also do a postural analysis and some scans, and maybe send out for some x-rays. The doctor will study those results, and on the next visit give his recommendations about what's going on, if it can help, how long it will take, and how much it will cost. That's what we do. Some chiropractors adjust on the first visit, others don't. You just need to fill out exactly how you do things. And then state the cost. The cost for this visit is however much you charge, and let them know how much it is. Now, this can be difficult for some people, the money aspect. I know for me, when I started with chiropractic, I really struggled with actually asking people for money, because it wasn't about the money for me. And if you have any issues around stating the cost, it's good to chat to your chiropractor about that and work on that, because if you feel uncomfortable asking for money, which is a common thing, less people will want to sign up. And it really just comes down to value. I mean, I just spent over €1,000 on an iPhone, and okay, it's fine. After about half an hour, the newness wears off. But how much is it worth? Someone, let's say they're suffering low back pain, they've got low energy, anxiety, they're not happy at home, not great with their kids, can't work. If we can give that back to them, what is that worth? Is it worth more than an iPhone? Yeah, I'd say so. So the value of what we have is it's very cheap chiropractic care. And it's good just to get your head around that, so you feel very confident when you state the price, because people will feel it. Oop. Sorry. Okay, and then we don't ask if they want to visit. We go straight into saying, my next available time is, does that work for you? You want to, if you think about who was it? Was it Mother Teresa, and who was the other guy? Gordon Ramsay? If you think about being really soft and really aggressive, I think for this phone call, you just want to be a little bit on the side of Gordon, in the middle, a little bit Gordon Ramsay, just a little bit. You want to get someone and just guide them through the process and show confidence. But if people want to say no, they feel safe to say no. That's what I feel. So you don't want to ask if they want to visit. You just say, my next available time is this. Does that work for you? If they don't want it, they'll tell you. If you have, oh, that disappeared. Okay. If we usually have around a week, sometimes 2-week waiting list. So if you don't have many available slots, it's good to use that to your advantage. I don't recommend lying, but if you say the next available appointment I have is next week at 4, most people will want to get it quite quickly, because they can see that there's not much availability. So if that is available to you, I think it's good to use scarcity if it's true. And then we confirm booking warmly, send reminders, send digital forms, and start the relationship. So then we wrap it up. Perfect, say their name, I've booked you in for this time. We'll send you a WhatsApp, SMS, however you communicate with your patients. And you'll also receive a link with your initial intake forms to complete before your visit. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you. And that's the script. Now, the key to this, who trains on the first phone call script here? Do you guys train on it monthly? No. So, and this is another thing, I find a lot of chiropractors will work on the reporter finding script a lot, which I think is really important, but we don't put as much time into this, and it's actually equally as important, just as much as an impact on helping more people and growing the practice. There's 4 stages of learning, And this applies to anything. So we have not knowing, realize you don't know, learning with effort, and natural skill. It could be music, driving a car, playing sport. So imagine not knowing. Who drives a car here? Yeah, okay, good. So you'll understand this. A lot of people in Barcelona don't drive cars. We have not knowing. You still don't know how to drive a car. And then maybe you're about to learn. You realize, well, I don't know how to do it. And then you start learning to drive the car. But you remember those first few times driving? There's no way you can talk to someone in the passenger seat. It's like going back and forth. It's terrible. And then you get to natural skill and you can drive the car, have a conversation. You shouldn't do it, but probably look at your phone and do something as well. You know, you can multitask while driving. We need to get the first phone call with all these levels to natural skill. Has anyone ever called a business and you can hear someone's reading a script? How does that feel? It feels terrible, doesn't it? It's the worst thing ever. And the truth is, until you get to natural skill, this is going to feel like a script. And people can feel that and they're not going to like it. And the best way to get to natural skill is practice. And it's better to practice like not on patients calling, because you're going to lose people coming in. So for us in our practice, we practice on this a lot. Like we do weekly for an hour when we start to onboard someone. They record the phone call on an audio and listen to it on the way to work on their phone. So it just goes right into but basically you memorize it so much you don't have to think about it anymore. And then once you get it memorized, you can sort of forget about it, just like driving a car, and just connect with the other human on the other end of the phone. Because that's the point you want to get to. We just want to be with communicating and trying to help someone, but taking them through these steps. And it takes practice. If you want to get those sort of numbers, like higher conversions. And once we get to 80, we just do once a month for half an hour. Because if you don't do it, the percentages start to drop again. You just need to like fine tune. And once a month, half an hour, maybe there's a difficult phone call, someone asks some weird questions and we don't know how to answer it. We'll write them down and we'll just chat about how do we deal with these sort of questions next time. So there's 7 steps. We have greeting, connection, identify needs, confirm needs, offer value, close commitment, build loyalty. Patients don't know this script, so they might ask a question, which is a common one is, like, they might call up and say, how much is the first visit? I mean, where I'm in Barcelona, there's a lot of chiropractors, like I'm right in the center. So people will call around a few centers, like looking for the cheapest price or asking information. So that's a common question we get. Now, if you answer that straight away, your conversions won't be that high. But you need to obviously acknowledge that they've asked how much it is. So, for example, if someone asks how much is a visit with a doctor, we'll say, yep, I'm very happy to answer that for you. But can I ask you a few questions first so I can give you the best answer? And then you just go to the front. So you acknowledge and then you go back and take them through the steps. A lot of chiropractors in my area give half price adjustments or discounts on the first visit. We don't give any discounts and we still have probably the highest conversions, because in the end you want to go to a place that you feel like you're going to get great care. And how do they know if they're going to get great care? Well, by the way, how confident you are and guiding them through this process, and they feel like, well, this is essential. I'd rather pay full price. And nothing wrong with discounts, like that's fine, but people would rather pay for the better service and the better communication on the phone. So I want you to imagine you've been practicing this and how much of an impact that can make on your practice. In the end, it's about helping more people. You saw my statistics. That CA, that I didn't train her on that, and we just didn't know. Our conversions were so low. So many people didn't get helped in our centre because we were communicating poorly. We missed out on so many potential patients. And in the end, her conversions were a bit better than mine in my report of findings. I'm in the 70s, she was in the 80s and 90s, over 100%. So she actually had a bigger impact than me on the first phone call of the growth of our practice. So this is just a really small thing, but they can have such a huge impact on the practice. And I just want you to imagine, if we don't work on this, how many people don't get into the practice doesn't grow like it should, and people don't get helped. If my statistics stayed on 33%, my practice would not have grown like it did. It really grew a lot from this protocol. So if you guys would like the script, scan that code. We'll email that through to you. I'm going to give you the script. It's in English, but you can translate it into German. I'm going to give you also the 7 steps of the sales process. And that Excel that you saw, I've got like a new, much nicer one. So you can start to measure your stats. I think it's a really good idea. It doesn't take that much time. Like just at the end of the shift, you just have to mark off a couple of things. So it's good to see where you are and where you can go. Also, with this, I have created a product, which you can see out there, which adds value to chiropractic care to use in your progress exams. And I give weekly emails on tips on how to add value to patients and improve retention. I recommend sticking around. You can just get the free stuff and unsubscribe, but I recommend sticking around because there's some really good info in there. So in the end, like everything is about the patient. We're in this to help people. And for me, chiropractic is about the patient experience. And you guys are the first experience people have with chiropractic. You're the first person they talk to. And because of you guys doing a great job, more people will step into chiropractic care and get the help they need and their lives change. So thank you for all the great work you do. Thank you.